What's happening, GD Nation? Hey, we got a new game design week coming up. This one's a really excited one because people have been asking about it. What about chess? That's right. What about chess? Chess is one of those games that's been around for centuries. I mean, it started back in possibly like 200 AD or even before that. There's a lot of different designers that have been part of the development of chess. The originals actually came from one of two sources. One is maybe India, and the second one is possibly China. Now, the reason why I say it's possible is because they both say that the game came from one of their games. And so one of their games, supposedly in India, was played by one of their gods, and then it was passed down to man. And so their gods was playing this game and passed it down to man, and that's when it became such a huge thing. That's one theory. The other one is back in China. China being a very warlike civilization in the early starts, basically comes to the point where a Chinese commander is trying to teach people about strategy, thinking ahead, thinking of all these different parts and pieces of war. And the game that he produced, similar to chess, was actually a game that taught war. So chess had such a great history behind it. It's the most actually I can't say it's the longest lasting game because there's actually games that were before that, but it's one of the longest lasting games out there. Now, so here we talk about how it goes from one game to the next to the very next, and there's so many things that you can learn from by learning the history of chess. Here in the Game Design Journal, I've written out a few answers to the questions here. And the ones I want to focus on are number one. First off, number one, with what we know, how did chess and all its predecessors last through so many decades, and how does that help us in designing our games? Okay, so one of the big things is it's a timeless game. So a timeless game meaning that even when it developed, it was still basically the same game developing each time. People loved the idea of it and continue going. So the idea was timeless. So you could actually create a game that actually has the concepts that people will want to use forever. It had low competition. There wasn't many games out there, especially in China. There was only a certain amount of games that they'd play. Most of them were around strategy. And so this game really had to, and if it, again, knowing the basics, the origin of chess, if it came from China, and if this one game is actually compared to this, then it was about war. It was teaching people how to be warlike. And China was the dynasties that were over there. They had the Great Wall of China trying to keep off the Mongolians. They were about more of survival than taking over the world, but warlike in so many ways. So their training, when it came to their youth and their leaders, was around military strength and military defense. So, and attack as well. And so that's why China, in my idea, is probably the true origin of the game of chess. This next question is actually question number 4. This one, it says, why was chess so successful throughout the years? Can you gain the same kind of success, and how? So there's one thing that's really interesting when it comes to some games. It's popularity. Popularity right now in these days comes from getting the people that have the most popularity to promote your game. Now, if you're thinking about the civilization of China and the military was the ones backing it, or a military leader or a royal, if they're backing it, you know it's going to go all over China. If the emperor was able to, put some backing behind it, like emperor play the game, everyone would want to play the game, would want to know about it. So in these days, when you want to get a game out, the first thing you need to do after your game is produced, it's ready to go out to the market, you need to find a reviewer, an influencer, much like on YouTube or Facebook, or most likely YouTube, because that's the biggest one right now for games. You get an influencer on your side, telling everyone that this is a great game, and they'll come in droves. They'll come buy your game if that influencer has good credibility and supports your game. So that's another way of getting, again, like chess, the success of chess was probably because there were some very popular, very influential people playing it. And people that wanted to learn military strategy or strategy altogether would probably want to know that game. So now you do that. Other than that, there's a lot of other things that are small. I'm going to let you come up with those ideas. Again, I'm not here to answer your questions. I'm here to answer them my way. And I'll leave the rest of them completely up to you. So the second part of the game design journal is right here. This is thinking with a goal in mind. Now, when I say goal in mind, what do you really want your game to be? More than just a board game, card game, and such. So in here, I have a few different options. There's 6 options here, but it can be so much more than that. Do you want to make $1 million? Basically, make something. This is a way of gathering funds or collecting things. Do you want to do that in your game design, in your game? The second one is to kill off all the zombies. That's right. So we can kill off all the zombies, the creatures, whatever. And so if you can kill off all those zombies, you win the game. The third one is to protect your city. So much like Total Medieval, your object of the game is to protect your city from the opposing side, who is coming down to kill you and take over your land. So you want to be able to defend your land. Another one, number 4, to be the first to the end. Is it a race? Are you going to try to race to the end of your game? What kind of game do you want? So this will run you through a few more of those, and it will also give you the background of chess and what the goals are of that game. Now comes to the fun part. So again, before I get there, right here is the history of some of these games, the origin games that came from Laobo, that's what I think is Laobu, to modern day chess. So you can actually look at the history of those games. Again, this here, right here, is the activity. Here are some different versions of chess, including 3D chess, normal chess, and another one, I can't remember. But right here, and you'll have to click on these links to find out. But now that we're in this game design course video, we're not going to do that. And then right here, you have the ancient origins of chess. These are actually games that are similar to chess from different countries, because chess in every country is different, or at least they have their own origin type. I shouldn't say every country, but a lot of countries. And so these are some of them. Like in Japan, you have, Japanese chess game, shogi. India chess, Persian chess, or at least the games that are similar to chess. So you also have different video websites you can go to here. And then here it is. This is the end in mind activity. Now, this is one of the most important things when it comes to creating your game. And I say one of the most important things because this is where you get to be very structured. You want to create a very structured game. And so starting with the end in mind gives you exactly where you want to be and everything you need to do in order to get there. So before you come up with the starting point, you want to come with the end point. You want to know where you're going, what the end points are. So here we talk about, right here. Write this in your journal. These are all the different parts. Personal. The question is, what do you want to accomplish with this game? So for my game, again, the one that we talked about last week, and the one that I'm developing for your graduation, I want to create a game that teaches. That's my own personal desires. I want to make a game that teaches. I want to, the second question is, how do you win your game? Well, getting your game to the market first, and then being able to gain the most points or the most money from it. We're going to set that up as we go. How do you want it to look? I want it to look like maybe a manufacturing plant. in the inner ring, and then at the outer ring it can be something else, and then as it gets to the square on the outside, and it becomes something else. But I want it to look like it's manufacturing a game, producing a game, because that's what we're doing. We're producing a game for you. So this is a game design game. And the last one, which medium do you want to do? Or no, sorry. What do you want to make it? Sorry, do you want to make it difficult to finish or easy and enjoyable? I said medium. I want it to be medium in the difficulty, where there is a lot of variables, a lot of changes that you can make, a lot of points that you can get. That's what I want in this. So complexity comes in the gameplay, not in the rules. That's just the way I like designing games. The next point down here, you have these 6 questions when it comes to thinking the end in mind. I'll run you through a few of them and then we'll end. Ultimately, so number 1 says, ultimately, what shows you you are the winner at the end? So how do you accomplish the end? How do you accomplish being the winner? First to market. That's the biggest point. You need to be the first to market. You get extra points for that. The largest popularity, and then the better game. So you can also create, we can also create in this game, creating more money. But at the same time, that's not going to give you, what's really important is the popularity and how successful it is. So we want to make sure that that is a number 1 goal. Then number 2, what drives the player to get there, to get to the finish line? Well, they want to make their product, designing it, and make it successful. If you're successful, you win the game. You can take a long time in the inner circle, designing it. It gives you a better game. But it's not going to give you the popularity of getting out to the market. And you have to get to the manufacturing before you can get out to the market and show it to people. So this allows you, the smaller circle allows you to develop the game. The next one allows you to manufacture the game. But until you can come out of the manufacturing and get out to the market, you're not creating popularity. You're not creating points for the game. So in here, I put the question number 3 is, what type of path will get you there? Will get them there? So it said you can have straight ones, you can have twists, you can have obstacles. I'm going to have the circles. So 2 circles and a square being the outside of the board. And then the last one I'm going to go to, and then you can read the rest. It says, will there be pitfalls and setbacks along the way? Holy cow, I can't tell you how many pitfalls there will be. Because in game design, there are always pitfalls, whether it's running out of money, whether it's having to start over because the critiques are completely different. All of these different variables. And it's real life. So if you can think of a real life chance or a real life obstacle, we're going to have in this game. Because we want to show you real to life how to create a game. We want you to be able to process any game design that you have in the matter of like an hour as you play this game and be able to know if that's a viable game. So this is one of the most important weeks that you're going to have, because you need to have a lot of thought in this, because we want a well-structured game. The way we're going to do that is by thinking it over and going through the different concepts, go through the different ideas, maybe even bounce it off somebody. Again, I'm bouncing this information off you, so I'm getting a lot of information about how I want to design my game for you guys in your graduation. So we're going to end this week with a shout out to all you that are part of this and the Facebook group, the private Facebook group. Thanks so much for supporting the Game Design Journal, the Game Design course, and supporting me as I put this information out. So thanks again. We will join you soon on the Facebook page and also next week. Now, one thing that you're going to want to know is next week we're going to focus on the pathways to the end. We're going to talk about how to get to the end now. We're not going to talk about the starting point yet. Starting point comes, but we know we have the end in mind. Let's get your person there. That will actually answer the next question for the next week of how you want to begin it. So by knowing the path, you're going to be able to start this over. And you might, after you get to the lesson on the beginning, how you want to start the game, you might actually change your path. But this gives you an idea of how you want to do it and helps you in the future. and I'll share a little bit more next time. So we'll see you next week with a game design course, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.